What's going on, guys? TMNT Journeys, Issue 8. This has been a series I've been very much enjoying. We fell off a little bit as far as the overall storytelling. I felt like it just kind of crept along. It wasn't really bad. I just kind of felt it was mid. But let's just get us caught up to where we're at now. So, as far as things that aren't going to be related to it, this issue, but might have a factor to play later on, we did see one of the Utrams has been able to witness things in like a different dimension. He saw a different version of the turtles, and so we were treated to a fight scene for that. But then, for things that are related to this book, Jay was being interrogated by Steven and Splinter as to what he was doing aiming a rifle at the farmhouse, and Steven goes ahead and he makes a call to somebody else because he's not 100% bought in on what Jay was saying, that he was just kind of in the area doing some target practice and decided to go ahead and check out the place. So he wants to be absolutely certain. And as far as April, she is still infected with nanobots and in a coma. They had her sister Robin come in, and the only thing that really got done there is we find out that Robin and April are not biological siblings. So that is where we're going to start off here. So again, Journeys, issue 8. Peter Laird, Jim Lawson, that's our writer and our artist there. And so we're getting started. We're at the cemetery where we see Robin, Donnie, and one of the Utrams, and what they're doing is harvesting some DNA from Robin and April's parents. And I think that this is really well done. Robin is very uncomfortable with the situation. You know, you feel like you're kind of desecrating your graves, especially of those that you love. And the Utram that's with him, he's very sympathetic. He's like, look, I get it. We have a lot of respect for our loved ones who have died, and I can assure you, one, we're gonna evade very, very little. We're just gonna take a little sample size, and that's it, just so we can get our answers. And holes in the caskets, they're gonna get patched up. And that was a nice little detail that I liked from Laird's writing. Is like, hey, won't that leave a hole and do some damage to the body within there? And we're covering that as a question. So that is something I very much appreciate. And so, yeah, Robin, she doesn't like it, but yeah, she does want these answers. She want to figure out, okay, if me and April aren't related, are either one of us related to our parents? You know, what's going on here? And so after everything's said and done, they have a moment of silence for the parents and just kind of pay their respects before they continue on. We then catch up with who Steven has called, and this is a man named Lou. And he is coming in. He's got something on his back, and that'll play a factor in later on. And he's making his way over to the farmhouse, just kind of reminiscing on how things have changed, how things have stayed the same, all that fun stuff. And so he gets to the farmhouse, takes off his helmet, makes his way up to the porch, and Steven greets him at the door, and Lou hands off the package to Steven. Again, we'll know what that is later on. Now is not that time. Comes in, introductions are made, and we find out Lou can read minds, as we see Splinter is not taking kindly to Lou's intrusion there, for which Lou apologizes for it. And so once the introductions are, and hey, how's it going, buddy? Once all of that's settled, Lou's like, all right, time to get down to business. Takes off his coat and tells Jay to relay everything to him involving his time in the woods and why he was pointing a rifle and all that fun stuff. And that's where we cut away for now. We then go over to where the Utrams are out in the ocean, and we see Casey. He's hitting the punching bag pretty hard over there. So hard, in fact, that even Raph and Mikey are just kind of like, hey, dude, you want to chill the fuck out? We're not trying to break everybody's stuff. Mikey's even like, yeah, dude, why don't you just come on over here and do this agility training with me? And Casey's like, agility's never really been my thing, and I really want to beat the crap out of this bag. And what he's doing is just kind of pretending that it's Baxter Stockman. Because after all, Baxter is presumably the reason why April's in the situation she's in. They believe that the nanobots came from him, and nothing else is going to the contrary. So it looks like, yeah, Baxter is the culprit. And so Mikey finishes up his little agility training, and he catches Cha Ocho over there just kind of watching Leo do his katana training. For which Cha comes over and he's like, hey, bud, would you like a sparring partner? And Leo's like, yeah, sure. Let's go ahead and let's do the thing. And so everything starts off all right, but then a cheap shot or two gets thrown, as we see over here. And little by little, tensions start to rise a little bit. But then ultimately, Leo proves to be the victor over here. And what Leo tells Cha, that Cha lost because he's overconfident, right? Cha does not like this and goes ahead and breaks the practice katana. Now, the workout area is filled with a lot of tension. You got Foot, Casey, the Turtles, everybody just waiting. Come on, throw it. Throw that first punch. And then an all-out brawl will happen. Just do it. But then, everything settles down when Karai enters, and she wants to know what the hell's going on. Now, Leo, he eases tensions further by saying, hey, look, we got a little carried away at practice, but all is well now. And Karai, she accepts this, and then also shuns Cha Ocho and tells him you will be punished for your failure for even losing that sparring match. But then before she takes off, she looks over at Casey and just says, I hope your wife makes a full recovery from whatever ails her. And I do believe that we're supposed to get a kind of a shady vibe out of her. At least that's what I got from her. So Casey's just like, thanks, I guess. And then we come back over to the farmhouse, and Lou tells everybody Jay's story checks out. He's finding no lies in what he was doing, that it was all an innocent misunderstanding as far as just basically using a poor choice of a scope, being still mounted to a rifle to kind of spy on his girlfriend's family. And then Jay thanks him for helping him in this situation, but then Lou's like, I got one more thing. I need you to look directly in my eyes, as we see Gazelle crazy eyes. And then this puts Jay in kind of like a hypnotic state, and he's like, within his mind, kind of like a little dream sequence. He wakes back up, and he's out in the woods. His rifle's next to him, and for those who don't remember, his rifle got destroyed by Metalhead. But he grabs his rifle, and just kind of thinks everything as a dream, and decides to go on home. Later, we see what was in that, what that package was that Lou brought over to Steven. That was a duplicate rifle. And so what they did is just kind of dress it up a little bit, give it like some markings and stuff like that looked very similar to the one that Jay had, and even change the serial number. And I'll add, that is illegal as fuck. Don't do that. But ultimately, yeah, everything seems to be passing. And another thing that I liked with Laird's writing is the reason why they did that and didn't just simply have Lou change Jay's mind as far as what kind of rifle he owned, and why they wanted to mimic it so much, is in case anybody else were to like look in on it, like maybe Jay's parents or a friend of his or something like that. Like, hey, isn't your rifle supposed to be different? And so Jay's off, and no harm, no foul. Now, I will say that this does kind of make Jay's arc redundant and just kind of pointless, because now we just reset it back to zero. Jay has no knowledge of this family. just at the start, right? I think it would have been better had we just not wiped his memory or altered it. Because, again, now it's pointless, where you could have additional drama later on, like Jay and Shadow going, why are you keeping all this from me? What is this all about? And maybe you also start to introduce him more into the family and he becomes more of a figure. So, yeah, it does just kind of feel like, well, that was just there for added drama. That's it. So I'm not really the biggest fan of the big old reset on the memory there for that reason. But yeah, we're done with Jay. We go back over the turtles, and everybody's gathering around because the doctor's got news for everyone. And I'm going to tell you, this felt so much like a soap opera to me. And I'm going to elaborate further on this. But yeah, so we're getting so the person that's actually biologically related to the parent O'Neills is Robin. And so they're like, oh, well, then April must be adopted. And the doctor is going on, is like, well, probably, but there's also more going on with the DNA. And before he can finish what he was saying, April starts having a big old fit and like, and they're realizing that the nanobots are now having an effect and are starting to eat her from within. And that is where the story ends. And I swear that feels like it could have been part of the, what was it, All My Circuits, the soap opera in Futurama with Calculon, for those familiar with it, where they like have this big dramatic thing, and before they really drop the big like information on everybody, some dramatic thing happens, and we're now left hanging like, oh, what is it? What is it? That felt so soap opera like, and I get both frustrated and get a laugh out of it all at once, because I'm just like, okay, come on, can we just out with it? Just give me the information. And it's frustrating only because I'm going weeks in between issues. I may not have as big of a deal with it if I'm like binge reading this, right? And I already have my next issue right now. This is it. I don't have the next one. And I understand that this is a reprint, and I could easily find this information, but I'm trying to keep this solely with the Journeys issues, just because it gives that new read vibe, right? So I haven't read these before. I haven't read the original comic series on this, so this is fresh and new for me, and I want to just kind of use it like this was back in the 80s or the early 2000s rather, and try to figure out what's going to be the next thing. So I'm trying to just keep it as a fresh perspective there. And so from that aspect, yes, this is frustrating just because I'm like, okay, you're kind of leaving me hanging. We're not really moving this April storyline too far. It's moving a little bit better than the last one. We did wrap up Jay's arc at least, even though I find it's kind of pointless. We at least wrapped something up. And I'm hoping in the next issue, this is, completely revealed and we can start to get a resolution. And it's like, okay, enough of the just trickling along information. Let's just get out with it as to what's really going on so we can start to fix it. Now, I think perhaps April is still biologically related, but the nanobots might have altered the DNA. There's that, especially since it's been presumably in her body for a couple years now. Might have altered it, and I think maybe that's the route we're going with. Or perhaps they have to use that dimensional thing for some other reason. I'm not 100% certain. I do think that that's going to play a factor somewhere in this story. Maybe not with this whole April coma bit, but somewhere down the line. But maybe that will play a factor in. I'm not 100% certain where we're going with this. I'm not feeling like I can really pinpoint what exactly we're going with here. So overall, I still enjoy it. It's just a little bit better than the last issue, so at least we're trending back in the correct direction. But it's still just like a little frustrating, and that makes me want to give it a lower rating for that reason. So at the end of it all, I'm kind of feeling more like a 6 out of 10 for this one. So it's like, yeah, it's better than the last issue where I gave it a 5. Or maybe I gave it a 6. I don't remember. But yeah, this is somewhere in the ballpark, if not just slightly above, is what I'm saying. Still, very much recommend the series as a whole, and if you could at least wait a couple more issues to allow us to get some answers here, I would still recommend this, because then you won't be as frustrated reading this as I am currently. But yeah, there's still plenty to appreciate. I still like the fight that we had between Leo and Cha Ocho. Still fun. The action scenes are always really, really enjoyable. It's just that whole J arc and just kind of being pointless when I'm like, you could have left that and just allowed that to actually be more natural drama. Could have been more interesting for me. But yeah, again, still very much recommend this, so definitely check out this and the mainline series and the Casey Jones series that I've already wrapped up. So that is all I have for today, guys. So until next time, take care and God bless.